it's doing it. Okay. All right. Well, I think we have critical mass here. We have 9 of us. That's definitely a quorum. We'll start the meeting officially at 7:03. And any additions or changes to the agenda before we get started? Otherwise, we're just going to march right through it.
So I was going to give an update on the research for the banks. Don't know where we want to put that in, if we want to put that in at the end of finance or put that into open issues or.
Let's put that in open form. I thought he said he put it on the agenda, but it's not in here. So rather than, I mean, we could add it as long as we update. Julie, you okay if we update the agenda, the finance report, and add it to letter C?
Of course, wait, the finance report is only a 2.
Right, no, but letter C, like 2C.
Is there an A and a B? I don't have an A and a B on my agenda.
Here's the I have this is the agenda that I have.
Okay, cool. Yes.
So
let's add it.
Okay. Great. So that we'll just put that. I can't edit this because it's a PDF, but we'll just pretend that we're going to put it right after this. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, we will march right on. Okay, good. Oh, there's somebody in chat. What is they saying here? Oh. Lana likes your background, Ken. All right. So approval of October minutes. Any questions or comments on that? If not, I'd like a motion to approve that.
I move to approve the October minutes.
I think Linda raised her hand, and we'll Steve, can you seconding instead?
I'll second it instead of.
All right. So motion by Linda and second by Kevin.
So
any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye or thumbs up or
Aye.
Thumbs up.
aye.
All right, excellent. Anybody disagree with that? Any no's? Abstentions? Okay, unanimous. All right, on to the finance report. Linda, take it away with, I don't know if you're going to talk about just the accounts. We'll start with the accounts and then we'll go into cycle 6 and 7.
Okay.
If anybody has info.
The checking account is $4,519.01. The business savings account is $2,013.54. The first CD is $2,058.86. The second CD is $2,053.67. And the third is $2,068.45. Total investments accounts are $6,180.56. No, I think that's an
Did you say we have 4 CDs or 3?
Three CDs.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I thought I heard an extra.
Yeah, this is the total investment amount is $6,180.98, and the total deposit account is $6,532.55.
So our total money, including is just over. Is it 12,000? Did I miss that?
Yeah, 12,000
and change.
Something.
Got it. Okay.
I didn't add them up.
I think I thought the checking is about 4,000, and then we have 3 CDs with 2,000-ish each. So that was
that's
like
10,000.
around 10,000-ish.
10,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think
I wasn't sure if I
total
heard
investments at the end does not need to be. I think the total investments at the end is double counting.
Got it. Okay. So it's 6 and 4.5. So we're 10.5.
Ish, yes.
Okay, ish. I mean, yeah, just round numbers. Okay, sorry about that. My misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda.
Sure thing.
So it looks like the cycle 6, which is what we were just in, was sent in by Art. I don't have any other details on that. Linda, do you have any details, or Julie, do you have any details on that?
No, he's not said anything except that everything has been sent in.
Okay. Do we know about
anything?
So the cycle 7, that's the one that's coming up, I think, and we have to wait and determine if it gets accepted. That's what we budgeted for.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions on the finance report? Okay, moving on. The October general meeting
Oh,
review.
sorry, didn't we add a C to this to
Oh,
go about
shit.
banks?
Yep, thank you.
Update? Okay,
Yep.
great.
Ken, go ahead. Sorry, Ken, didn't mean to cut you off. Thank you.
Okay.
Um,
So I sent out an email last month after doing some research on the different banks that support businesses, high yield business savings accounts. And from that list, I narrowed it down to 3 recommendations: Live Oaks Banks, Axos Bank, and Holdings Bank. Since that time, Live Oaks Bank actually has dropped from 3.9 down to 3.8. Axios is still at 4.01, and Holdings is still at 4. So depending upon, if we feel it's worthwhile, maybe it would make sense to move a portion of our savings into one of those accounts. These are all online only banks where, you open the account online and you transfer the money in and out. So if we, from the other accounts, the checking accounts, you would just go online to do a transfer from one bank back and forth. But this would make it so that the money that's sitting there could get a better amount of return. Even though Live Oaks Bank has dropped a bit, just from the ease of use and everything in the recommendations, that probably would be still my highest recommendation. It got a 5-star rating from Forbes and NerdWallet. Axios Bank has a few more limitations, which probably wouldn't affect us. Axios has a limit of 20 transactions per month of debits, credits, and deposited items. So if we have a lot of transactions, that might become a problem. They charge you 30 cents each after the initial. Other features that it have don't probably matter, like unlimited ATM fee reimbursement and free domestic and international wires. I imagine we don't use any of that. And then Holdings Bank, although it also has a really good return, is kind of a funky idea where you're actually not sticking it in a one bank. It's more like a broker, and you give the money to them, and then they keep farming it out to other banks to get you that high return, which, it's gotten good returns and people seem to like it, but it seems kind of complicated and a little scary. So I'd probably go with Live Oaks.
I have a
Any
question.
Sure.
So if we consider the options, thank you for bringing them to our attention. What are the actual key things that we as the board and for the neighborhood need in our bank? My understanding so far is that we need to have a checkbook that can be balanced, and we need to have access to that. I mean, Linda, are there any other things that you are we definitely need a checkbook? Because maybe some of these banks might not give you checks for free. I think that's kind of happened more recently. Or are there any other kind of tools that we require of the bank to work well for the neighborhood association?
Well, I know we have a checking account because periodically, for whatever reason, Art needs a check or Art needs to get paid. So I don't have any information about any of those online kind of situations. I mean, it's pretty simple for us, you write a check, and you balance your checkbook. And I can go online and check our statements. It's pretty straightforward. But I'm not even sure I'm what the interest rates are at this particular time.
Right. And I think we have multiple, I don't have it in front of me, but I think on a previous thing, it sounds like we have both checking account and a savings account and CDs. Is that correct?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So this would just replace the savings account. I would suggest sticking with your existing checking account. That's the one, as you're saying, that's you want to access regularly, to have quick access to money and maybe even have a physical entity for that in case you wanted to do that.
Right.
This would just be that the money that you don't need shorthand, on hand, you farm off to the savings account to get a higher rate of return. But then as soon as you need the money, you go online and you transfer it. And also when you get deposits in, you deposit it into the checking. If you see that you have more than you need, slough it off online to the savings account. When you need more, you draw it back. An online transfer, once you put in the request, there can be a delay on the money of anywhere from 2 to 5 business days. So you do need to keep, money on hand so that when you transfer back and forth, you have a bit of a slush fund so that you don't run short.
Good point.
Okay.
Good point. And I guess another question is, For the grant money received by San Jose, are there any stipulations about where that money is stored?
No,
I don't know that answer.
Yeah, I
the
think that's
city doesn't
we should put
require
that as a
anything.
question.
In order to receive funds from San Jose, are there any requirements that they have about where that money goes to? For example, if they have something saying that this money needs to be stored in a checking account and used for the purpose of the association and not go into a brokerage account, then that would be valuable for us to know before we might merge any kind of funds between what we get from San Jose versus other fundraising opportunities.
I think Art is the one that's going to be able to answer that question.
And this is just a savings account that would replace our savings account. These aren't
Right.
brokerage
Mhm.
accounts. I don't know if we have the minimum funds required to make a brokerage account worthwhile.
Oh, yeah.
Although actually, it might. I think that actually, if we were to do a brokerage account, there is a fund. If we have, I think there's a limit of 5,000 minimum. I'm not sure if we have 5,000 in the savings right now, but
No.
if we met a 5,000 minimum, then we could do a brokerage account and get a 5% return on a fund that is completely liquid. I don't think that we'd want to stick it in something that's not highly available.
So just from a notes perspective, there are a couple things that were brought up. Do we need two signatures, or can we have two signatures on the new ones that you were talking about, Ken? I think that's something that we should be able to do that. And I see FDIC insurance sounds like it's yes. And I do think it's important to we have 3 CDs and the $4,000, is that in checking or is that in savings? Is that all in
Savings.
No.
savings?
In savings, we have $2,013.54.
And in checking, we have 2,000 as well?
No, in a checking, we have $4,519.
All right, so now I'm confused again. And we have 3 CDs on top of that?
Yes.
Oh,
So we
okay.
do have
So
$12,000.
yeah, never mind. I misread or I misheard.
Okay. All right. So this is what, all right. That's good. We'll go back and forth. All right. So we have 3 CDs, a savings account, which looks like and smells like a CD in terms of dollar amount, but it is savings.
Right,
And we have checking, which is 4,000.
right.
And we do not have any, we don't know if we have to pay any money back to San Jose or whatever. So that's still an unknown how much money of that is, how much of that 12,000 is actually ours versus
Right.
Potentially allocated.
Right.
Okay, so I'd like to, first of all, I think it's great. Thank you, Ken, for doing this research. I think it's awesome that you did that. My guess is our CDs are I don't know, they're probably 3% right now, or what are they? Do we know what they are?
I don't know.
You don't
I'd
know, okay.
go online and
I
look.
doubt they're as high as that savings account that Ken
No.
is finding. Or if they're not, they're pretty close. And the fact that it's a savings account and not tied up in a CD, and if it's close, it's probably a good thing so we can have access. Not that we spend our money. I mean, let's be clear, we don't spend our money very much, which that's a separate thing, which I hope we will consider spending some of our money so that we can improve our neighborhoods with it, whatever that means. But I would like to, at least for our next meeting, suggest that we put forward some kind of recommendation on Ken, use Ken's recommendation. You recommended the one that had the lower interest rate, but seemed a little more stable or a little more 5-star-ish.
Yeah.
I think we should go with that one.
And the online the app is also easier to use.
So and then what's that one name?
Live Oak Bank.
Correct.
Live Oak. So I'd like, if I could, I'd like to, and I don't know if we're at this point, but I'd like to make a motion to look at Live Oak Bank as our alternative CD/savings account for our money, not city money, just the Cory Neighborhood Association money that we have control over. So the intention, the implication is when our CDs mature, we do not roll them over into a CD. We take it out and we move it into, open up a Live Oaks savings account so that it can start generating interest. So as they mature, we don't close them out prematurely, but as they mature, they would go forward with something like that. Rita.
Do we know when our CDs mature? And if so, I would think we would want to not automatically not roll over into the CD, but evaluate rolling over to the CD and that interest rate along with what is Live Oak offering at the same time.
Okay, I guess, and that's fine. We can like do a friendly amendment to that or something like that. What I was trying to do, and if it's not appropriate to do it, I can take it off the table, but I'm just trying to have it as, see if we can get a way to advance this, is so that we can agree on the approach that we're going to take. If the approach is, let's take the money out of the CDs and move it to the savings account and this new one, if it makes sense to have a path rather than have three options and do more research and just kind of like, let's see if we can move this, let's advance this. And again, with the caveat, if the CD is making more, we leave it there.
No, that sounds good, Kurt.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can repeat that, Julie, if we want to try and reform that. It's not seconded or anything, but let me try and restate that. That
I got it.
You got it already?
Yep, got it.
Okay, cool.
I'll put it
I
in the
won't
meeting
repeat
minutes.
it. Excellent. Thank you, Julie.
Moving on.
So that's the motion. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. All right, so now we can discuss it further in more detail to make sure before we vote on it. Is there any discussion on that if anybody's unclear with it?
So when the CDs mature, we just basically take the money and put it in Live Oak. And
Unless
Depending on which one's
unless
giving you the better interest rate.
the rate is already better at
Yes.
with the
Chase.
CD.
No,
And
we're at West, but yeah.
Mayor
Oh,
West.
Marawest, yeah.
And
Which
do
is
we
a
want
credit
to switch
union,
our
which is
existing
good.
savings over to this new savings? That balance as well?
So you have to have
This-
some, you always have to have a minimum savings in a credit union. Savings, everything's generated off of savings, not checking. So it might be like a $500 or $300
I see.
minimum.
There-
where
there-
you
there's a
start getting,
minimum on the savings because it's credit union. Got it.
right. So there's going to be some minimum, but it doesn't need to be 2,000. It can be something. So I think, maybe this is something we consider. Do we want to add, basically have a minimal amount of savings in West while this is going on? In the meantime, open up the Live Oaks with the majority of our savings account. If it's 2,000, maybe we move 1,500 or 1,600 out of it, whatever. And so we just keep a minimum in West so it stays active without penalties, and then move the rest. That way we start the Live Oaks process.
Are we expecting city money or have we already got the city money?
We just applied.
We'll
Okay,
see if we
so
get it.
We haven't received it yet.
Mm-mm.
I recommend
Oh,
we
you had a
see what
question.
I recommend that we see what the CD interest rate looks like compared to Live Oak at that juncture to determine whether or not we want to start making a big switch.
Right.
So okay, Rita, go ahead. I have another follow-up question.
Yes, so it seems that we have a larger amount in our checking account versus our savings account. And
Mhm.
we're looking to find a different vehicle for our savings account. Would this also be a time maybe to review how much money we actually need in the checking account for immediate access? And maybe want to put a little more into the savings, whether it's with the current savings depository or the new Live Oak. Would that be something we would want to consider also at the time? It just seems to me that do we need that amount of money sitting in a checking account that isn't necessarily earning any interest?
I think it's a good question. I would like to delay that to next meeting when Art is here, because Art might have a reason for that much money in there. I don't want to try and second guess without.
Sure,
he's got all
no,
the
that's
history.
fair enough. I'm totally
But
ignorant on.
I think it's absolutely perfect time to look at it.
For the
I
group,
think,
yes. Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, sure. But I think to summarize kind of what you're getting at is we should have a target amount, a minimum amount in our checking account. What is our target and a minimum? And then the rest should go into either savings or Live Oaks with a minimum in savings in West so that we can keep the minimums without getting penalized. And then we look at the CD. So it's kind of a multi-level thing, but we should look at all of it since we're doing it.
Got it.
So great.
I took that
Um,
note.
So should we vote on that motion as it stands, which is just that first part? I didn't talk about the checking analysis. I think that's something we'll do with Art as a note, but the motion stands as looking at Live Oaks as the preferred move to for savings money, and then with the with the addendum that says if our CDs have a better rate than the current rate at the village or
Mira
sorry,
West.
Live Oaks, that we stick with that. Otherwise, they get shuttled over to Live Oak.
Yeah, I have that as you motioning, Kirk, and then Kevin seconded already.
Correct. Yeah. So now
Yep.
we just got to
Okay.
vote on it. Oh, and Rita, go ahead. You had a question, then we'll vote on it.
I propose that we table this discussion for the next meeting. And when Art gets back, and so we have all the information, I think there could be a report made. And this is just me coming from my process and procedures background. I don't think we really need to do a motion. That's up, but of course, that's up to the board tonight. But I would say.
I second Rita's motion. That was not to why go into work on half of a project when you don't know how the whole thing can be affected.
So yeah,
Okay.
so just a report, maybe Ken and Linda and Julie could maybe just put their heads together for 5 minutes, sometime after the meeting, before our next meeting, and just come up with a little discussion point for the agenda for next month.
And so if that's the alternative motion, I'm going to disagree with that. If we want to just have it delayed till next meeting, I don't think anybody should have homework after this. Ken's already done the work. We've just talked about it and agreed on an approach. The only piece that's stopping our approach right now is Art not being here with some details about checking. Otherwise, we can make all the decisions right now. I don't think, unless Linda and Julie and Ken want to do homework.
I don't think we have all the information, Kurt. We don't, do we have the existing percentage rate that we're getting right now on the savings account?
Art does.
I'm sorry, do we?
The motion that we had forward right now is that we are evaluating one, Live Oak Bank as an alternative, and then two, we'll crunch the numbers at the point in time where we have the CD numbers, which could be next meeting. Would that make sense? And that way it's an analysis of CD interest rate versus Live Oak interest rate, and then the motion to switch would occur. Today's motion, what I have in my notes is that it's about, we've looked at 3 banks and Live Oak Bank is a good option, and we would move the CD money, but not the certificate of deposit money, but not the city money, not San Jose city money there.
I don't think we have any San Jose City money yet.
Yeah, we don't. Well,
Yeah, so the checking account would be more for, well, we would have to see the best outline of our finances, and if that's something that can be kind of outlined before the next meeting, it could help in decision making. To see the amounts to put where.
We just need to look at our banking history to determine what our finances will survive or not.
Right. And all that stuff was not part of the original motion. That's all.
Yeah.
That was
So
all ancillary after the discussion.
I took notes, Rita, about a proposal for like a finance kind of outline report, in which case this would help, the board make decisions about quantities to go into which location. It sounds to me like, Linda, it would be some history.
Yeah.
It would be some historical digging to see, like, well, how much do we want to keep in our checking and fluid versus how much do we want to keep of that checking that is not city money, and how much of it is city money? I don't know how all that shakes out. So I think this would require some homework, but it doesn't necessarily need to be tonight. It could be
No,
just,
not tonight.
yeah,
No,
by the next
perfect.
meeting to have
Yeah.
something kind of at least outlined for what, in our perfect world, we would like to have in terms of our accounts for this board.
As always, you're amazing. Thank you.
So I don't know if that means, are we voting on the motion, or are we, is the like, I'm not trying to push the motion. I'm just saying, I thought that was the start of the process, so we can put to rest which bank we're gonna go with if we go to.
Yes,
That
we
was
have rested on the
purpose of it.
bank. It sounds like we've rested on
Yeah.
the Live Oak Bank. And now it's, okay, how do we want to do our math?
Yeah, so are we
When's the
okay
first
proceeding with the motion
maturity?
as is, or no?
When does the first CD mature?
I don't know.
Well, if it's not this month or next month, then
We have
Oh,
time.
wait. For the first CD, it matures November of, oh, I think it just rolled over. It says
Okay, so we have 3 months. It should,
before.
yeah.
So the last one matures in January, the 4th of January. The second one matures December 14th, if I'm reading this correctly.
so we've got a couple CDs coming up for maturity. One in December, one in January. We missed the November.
Right.
So
Or but the December
Those-
one,
those two could roll, provided the rolling is beneficial.
What day in December was that, Linda?
December 14th.
so
Okay, that's after our next meeting.
yeah, our board meeting is the 11th, as long as we're comfortable. Like, I don't know how long it takes to set up anything or do anything, and maybe it's quick. I don't know if that's, again, we won't be able to take action on anything if we don't do this motion. We possibly could be able to do it if we wait till next meeting, and then Art would be, have a couple days to do it. Or we just wait and do it next and don't do anything this meeting with just guidance. And then we wait until it hits in January, and then we have the month of December to do it. I think those are the 3 options we have.
I think it's fine to wait.
What's
It looks to
the
me like we don't have a good picture of precisely how we want to have this broken down. So until we have that picture, maybe we shouldn't like start the ball rolling in case there's any kind of penalty for starting something that we don't finish.
do we know what the window is for timing when it automatically rolls?
I
I
don't.
mean, it will mature on a date, but then you have so many days before it rolls before you say yay or nay. It'll do it automatically.
I don't know.
In the credit
Okay.
unions that I've dealt with, it rolls that day, but
Yeah.
you
The
have
same
like
day?
but you have a week to cancel it without penalty.
I see. So
I
you
think
got
Seth,
you
you're
got a
off
1
5
week
days.
window.
Yeah, there's
It'll
a window.
roll.
Don't quote me on the exact time, but there
Right.
is a window where you can
Right.
cancel the CD without penalty. Otherwise,
Okay.
you have a penalty of all interest.
So it automatically rolls and you have a grace period to cancel.
Right. Right.
Hey, y'all, we're
Yep.
like 30 minutes through the meeting, and I do have that one motion right now for Live Oak Bank, and then I think everything else is going to be a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of maybe Linda as our treasurer. Could you maybe do an outline of what would be ideal for our finances going forward?
Okay.
And this is something that doesn't have a strict deadline, I would say.
Pardon?
Doesn't sound, I don't think this is a strict deadline. This is just a outline, and then at the next board meeting, we can discuss and share.
Okay.
I've taken notes of all the questions about our accounts so that we can make sure we have that information out, and I'll send it in the meeting minutes.
So are we still moving
tabling or are
forward
we
with-
voting? Voting
Yeah,
or
are we
tabling?
voting on this motion?
The motion is that we have chosen Live Oak Bank, not that we're moving into it, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know how much we're moving into it. Yes.
Okay, well, then that's a vote.
All right,
Yes,
so
so,
let's call for
yeah.
that question. All those in favors of selecting basically Live Oak Bank with that caveat that was in there before, aye or thumbs up?
Aye.
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 And there, Rita, you have a question.
No, I didn't. I hit the wrong icon. Sorry. I'm doing a thumbs up. So sorry.
We're so confused.
And are there any no's? Any abstention? Okay, unanimous support of that particular motion. Great. Moving right along. That was a good, thorough discussion. Love that. Lively. Thank you, Ken, again, for the detailed research and presenting that for the board. That's awesome. Great teamwork
pleasure.
there. Okay,
Thanks.
now we're on to the October general meeting review. We'll start with speakers. Anybody have any feedback on the speakers that we had during our session?
Oh, I thought the lady from the garden, downtown garden thing was fabulous.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
Lauren and the kids already went there. It was really fun. Highly recommend it.
Excellent. Excellent. I think maybe we do an annual one with that group, or you know, have some way. I mean, especially if they partner, because we connected together with the Agrihood folks. Hopefully, maybe there's some kind of maybe a tighter collaboration, maybe twice a year, a little guest speaker or something like that. A little session. It doesn't have to be long, but I really liked it too. Anybody else have any thoughts on speakers?
I thought the PG&E one was a giant waste of our time.
I agree. Anybody else agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody not agree with that? It's probably safer to say. I do want to ask your opinion. Someone in the audience, I think it was Lindy, kind of started jumping down the guy's throat. And I did my best to try and kind of just keep it at bay so that the guy could go through his, I didn't know his presentation was going to suck as bad as it did. But I wanted to give him the respect of being able to present his material without one person making a comment that would potentially change it. And I just want to ask how you guys felt about that, because I kind of did that
I
spontaneously.
thought that was the right thing to do, and thank you for doing that.
Okay. Any other feedback? Thank you, Sinjin.
So Art sent out a rather detailed email with feedback. I'm looking for it in my history, but I'm not yet finding it.
Oh, I didn't see that. Shoot. Thank you. If you can find that, that'd be great.
Because he had like a page and a half or something of comments.
Oh my goodness. Any other thoughts about speakers? How do you feel about our senator, state senator, Aisha Wahab?
I really enjoyed having her there. I came away very depressed, though.
Sorry, didn't mean to laugh.
I mean, like it was super informative and very enlightening. I just had no idea what kind of questions to potentially even ask her, and then I was like, wow, I have this bleak view of everything. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other thoughts on the senator? I was glad we got her. It's the first time she's been at our meeting. She was invited multiple times.
I think her presentation was too long.
Too long? Yep,
Yeah.
I would agree as well. I got feedback when I came back from using the restroom. A woman stopped me. She goes, "She's talking too much." And it was right in front of the senator's aide. And she goes, "She's almost done." But I think we need to give a little bit more parameters around how much time she spent. It was almost 45 minutes, just her. And she had a lot of content, a lot of material that was, I think, a little overwhelming for folks. So I'm not sure how, for the political weenies we have in the audience, I'm sure it was great, that are really tuned in. But for people that are trying to understand a little bit, I think it might have been a little bit too detailed, nuance and stuff. So, I think it was definitely too long.
So was anyone able to give her a heads up that she was at the time limit? Or we just let her just go on and on?
She did not, didn't look like she was stopping at all. I got Art's attention a couple times. We were like, we don't know what to do. Ken.
Yeah, so I found Art's note. I could either read it, or if you wanted to grant me a screen share, I could throw it up.
Oh, I don't you have screen share? You should be able to.
Let's see. Share.
I don't have the
commandeer the whole meeting.
Okay.
Just double click it and it'll bump me off automatically.
Now it's choosing the correct window here. Okay, you guys see that?
Nope.
It
Yes.
says choose tab to view.
No,
I
Oh, there we go.
see it.
Thanks. Got it.
Okay, so this was in Art's email that he sent out on 11/3, along with the original agenda. I think there was an additional document of general meeting feedback.
That.
So said he was worried about the seating, and he'll work with people on that. I don't know if people just want to read, or people
No, you
have
can keep going. It's good. Keep summarize. You're doing great.
As for the speakers, talked about how Dev was going to be short. Victor Santiago, speaking for Ellenberg, was mediocre. He really needs to be more prepared to uncover what's going on in the county if he wants to represent Susan properly. For State Senator Aissa Wahab, she was going to just have a short talk. However, it ended up that she spoke 45 minutes instead of the 20 with 10 Q&A. And he's wondering if maybe she spoke too long and that people left. I actually found it quite informative personally. Let's see, he's saying that basically we might want to be more clear as to what the expectations are in the future. Same thing, PG&E, you guys just covered that. Same thing, and more detail about Kirk speaking up. And then garden to table.
He said he disagrees.
Right. So Kirk, I understand why you came to the defense. This is Art. Kirk understands why you came to the defense of Matthew, but he disagrees. He thinks that we should have pressured Matthew more to talk about the things that affect us. The problem is I don't think he knew what to talk about. He didn't answer any of the questions asked at the meeting, and he thinks PG&E just sent him to talk about PG&E. So yeah, I definitely felt like he was ill-prepared in the sense that, all the questions that we asked, he basically said, I need to look into that. So that kind of stuff.
Right. That I agree. But so I don't think it's fair to say that we didn't ask any questions. We asked very specific questions of him. He couldn't answer any of them. I think we asked like 8 or 9 questions, and he literally said, I'll have to get back to you because he knew nothing. So he was just not the right guy. But I don't think I would, again, unless I hear from this group that we should I just saw an audience member trying to disrupt the presenter, and I just don't think that's appropriate for an audience member to do. That's really why I stepped in.
Yeah. Although it was dragging on, and had it not been redirected, we probably wouldn't have even gotten to our questions. But maybe, we want to be more nice about how we, don't be so confrontational about.
To be fair, maybe Art or I should have stepped in sooner. We should have done that. It should be on us.
You guys should have, one of us, someone on the board.
It's probably Art. Art is the MC. He's the one that needs to step in, but I'll take responsibility as well for that.
Yeah.
So in the future, can we submit questions in advance to the presenters so that they can be aware of what is top of mind and be able to have appropriate responses?
Technically, I think we could. I just don't know if our residents respond to that. But we absolutely. The answer is yes.
Probably,
it would be perhaps questions that we have that we can at least start them off with. So at the meeting, they're more well prepared for some of those questions versus I don't know.
I'm always surprised by the audience questions, so I don't know that the board would be able to formulate questions on par with the audience.
We could always email the agenda to our email list saying, if you have any questions, let us know by X, and then we'll get them to the speakers so they know ahead of time and can prepare.
That'll be a first.
You can always do at least do due diligence on that for sure. It's a good point, Lana. We should always probably do that.
I can easily make a form that people can just fill out their anonymous questions.
Thanks, Injin.
And then he also agreed, voiced at the table, Silicon Valley was just an awesome presentation, and that we should definitely have her back. And then also kudos to St. John Johnston, talking about the pumpkin, and don't tell him this because we'll get too big. He's natural. He's calm and collected in front of the people and handled the other projects such as Christmas tree program with ease. So kudos to him.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Great, thank you, Ken.
Yep. And since I have the screen share up, I can just direct people back to the email that I sent, which had more details. So here, if people want to go back to that, this has links to the various different banks, as well as what their ratings were and all the detailed information. So if anyone wants to go back and pull more detailed information, it's in that email. Great, thanks.
Ken, could you just resend that to everybody?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Will do. Great.
Art's letter, please. I don't.
Oh, Art's letter? Okay, yes. I can do that.
All right, we'll get back to our agenda. Thank you, Ken.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, so that was a speaker discussion. How about the food? How did the food get? I didn't see how the food was received. I will say we did not advertise that there was going to be pizza at this meeting. We usually do, and that tends to draw some extra people. But I don't know how we did. I thought we were a little bit. I don't know how many people we had in the meeting this time. It seemed a little bit lighter than our typical meetings, though.
Right, we had a lot of leftover pizza and cannolis. I mean, people were, eating it all. I mean, but like you said, there weren't as many folks there as we had anticipated. So a lot of folks went home with pizza and cannolis.
Yeah, so I don't know in terms of it's hard to judge it. I mean, one response would be, bring less food, but the downside is then running out of food is absolutely terrible. But I guess there's also the underlying question of, it seemed that fewer people came to this meeting than we were expecting, and also kind of in the past. And I kind of wonder why that was. I mean, we were lucky because the room was smaller than usual, and it could have been a huge problem. So in that sense, it actually was good. But of course, we want as many people there as possible.
Yeah. I think this meeting is traditionally the lowest attended one because it's colder and it gets, I don't know, darker or something. I don't know what it was. Something about the, I guess our last time we had meeting inside, it was cold in that room, and I think people remembered that. So, because Scott Valley was not there this time, and I asked him, and he had a visceral memory of being in that room cold.
And I think the January one too is not as large as some of the others because it's nasty, and a lot of times it's cold and rainy and.
Gotcha. Okay. The room setup, the projector, I'm not sure why that's on here. I guess, was there any issues with any of the, obviously the room was smaller. Was there anything wrong with the projector? Could everyone see it okay? No, I thought all that worked okay. And our next one will be the Christmas showcase one. So we'll actually have a lot of visuals to share with the holiday showcase, but we'll talk about that coming up. Okay, anything else on the general meeting review? Okay, let's go on to number 4, January general meeting coming up.
Sorry, quick
January.
question. Do we know
yeah.
how many people showed up to that one?
In October.
For October, do we know the number?
I think it was, I want to say close to 90, but maybe not. Art has the paperwork, so
Yeah, I thought it was
I
less
know
than
it is not as many as we thought. it would
90
come.
is a decent turnout.
Yeah, 90 is good. I thought
Yeah.
it was like 60.
60 is below average.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Oh, you know what? You might be right. You might be right, Kevin. Because when we went through the numbers, yeah, I think it was maybe closer to 70.
Okay. That's
We
average.
planned on 80. We planned on 80,
Mm.
and I know there's probably 10% of the people don't eat. So
Yeah, the 70 people is about average.
I will say for the food though, Kirk, there was a lot of the cheese pizza left over.
yeah, I usually that's kid focused, but
We had
again,
two.
it wasn't advertised, so I don't think that
Yeah.
there were any kids there.
There were two.
I'm
Two.
so sorry. That's because I wasn't there and I would have eaten all the cheese pizza. I'm
Okay, let's keep moving on. We're about 45 minutes in, so we'll keep marching forward. Our January meeting coming up, we'll have a new council person. We'll have our county supervisor, although hopefully we'll give feedback to Susan to have Victor a little bit more prepared. Maybe Mayor Mahan. I don't know. Maybe our did our police person change again?
Yeah, we have a new police chief.
We have a new, oh right, we have a new police chief. I don't know if we got the chief in, but that'd be cool. Maybe we get the chief to come by. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'd like to have Valley Fair or Santana Row like a post-holiday post-mortem, just to see how did it go, what challenges did they have, so we could give some feedback to them and they can hear it. I'm really disappointed that Valley Fair has not stepped up at all in the last few meetings, which is really disappointing. Rita, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to have a postmortem of the shopping season, especially with the parking situation. Whether it's something that we have a discussion with, whoever is attending, or somebody from Valley Fair and or Santana Row.
Okay, let's put that on the list. Ken, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything we can do to encourage Valley Fair to come back. I think probably it's a residual effect from the rather confrontational meeting from when she last came, when people were complaining about the parking. So I would say yes, both in terms of we should do what we can, because I think that it's a loss that they're disengaging from us, and it would be really good if we could get them to reengage. But at the same time, I would also say, let's have our parking discussion at the meeting when she's not there, because I don't want her first meeting back to then feel bombarded again with parking, or that could be the end of them coming.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
go ahead,
paid
Linda.
parking now at Santana Row.
Right, there's a new variable now, paid parking in Santana Row. So that was going to be our first Christmas holiday season with paid parking in both locations, not just one.
And just a side comment on that, I thought that it was rather disingenuous, it seemed, that at the meeting that he came, I really enjoyed his talk and he's really, really nice. But I kind of, I asked, it's like, what's up with parking? And he ditched the question and basically said nothing. And it wasn't until somebody, I thought that lead-in was clear enough, but obviously he either didn't get it or didn't want to get it. And then somebody else more specifically said, what about the paid parking? And he said, oh, that's up in the air and it's undecided yet. And then it was a couple of days after that.
Yeah, it was like 3 days later.
that it went live. And it's kind of like, you really didn't know and it was 3 days away. I kind of feel that was disingenuous, or, did he really not know?
So just so you know, I have a quarterly meeting with Scott at who's at Santana Row, and I actually brought that up. And I'm like, what the hell, man? You were literally asked about that. You said there was no plans, and then like a week later it happened. And the answer was he was not at liberty to discuss that. It was above his pay grade. He did not make the call. He could not disclose any information.
It's one thing to say I can't answer that question, or to defer it rather than blatantly lie, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much he knew at the time, but his basic message was, I can't share that information. It's
Right.
like, what I mean? So, and I don't know if that, if he said something like that, maybe that's cagey. I don't know.
But at least it's true. I'd rather have true information. It's like, I need to get back to you on that. I can't talk about that yet. It's under discussion, but to basically say it's not happening, and then to turn around and say it's not, it then just immediately happens, makes me feel that I can't trust anything he says now.
Yeah, I don't remember his exact words. I'm sure he picked them carefully though when he said it, but I agree. I walked away with, it's not on the table for them right now, which was clearly not the case.
I don't remember the words either, but it was quite clearly set to give us the impression that it was definitely not a done deal.
Yeah, it was not happening. At least not next week. Or that, yeah, agreed. But I would say I'd like to just let Scott has a lot of integrity in what he does and how he operates. So he's been with this neighborhood for over 20 years, and when he was at Valley Fair, and he's been nothing but transparent about what he can be. So I would give him a mulligan on this one. Let this one slide, and don't let that define how you judge his integrity and character.
And we definitely want to keep them engaged. We don't want to have what happened at Valley Fair happen with them.
Yeah. And the other thing with Valley Fair, just so you know, I think they were sold. Part of the organization that bought them is basically parting off all the malls. And that's been happening for about 3 or 4 years. And so I think Sue Newsom, who is the person that took over Scott's job at the mall, is, I don't know. I think it's like she's just disengaged because it's not really, she's probably looking for her next gig pretty soon. So I think that's part of it. I don't know. I don't think it's just the parking. I think that's a good excuse. I don't think that's the only reason. I just don't think I don't want to say she doesn't care because that's not fair because I don't know that. But she's acting like she doesn't care because Scott cared so much. He was at every meeting, like every meeting we've ever had, he was at, usually presenting and usually giving us money.
Exactly.
So, okay. Food for next time. What are your thoughts on that? We're on the hook for it. Remember, it's going to be cold. It'll be January, so it'll be a little colder. We want a little more hearty food. We
Soup.
want to go back.
No, I don't know.
Greek, Mexican, we're good. And what are the other options we normally do?
Those are it. Well, not Greek. It was Achilles. It was Mediterranean.
We've done Nick the Greek, I think, once, but I think that was during the summer.
Yeah, that was paid for by
Yeah, as you're saying,
Santana
Greek
Row or
plus
Valley Fair.
Mediterranean. Yeah.
St. John, I missed what you said.
What did we have last January?
God.
St. John?
I don't know.
What was your question?
I know. I was just saying, can we get like soup?
Yeah,
Soup.
I was gonna say stew.
Or some definitely hot food, maybe. Yeah.
So just a heads up that there was someone at the meeting who did approach Art afterwards and exchange numbers, and they apparently just opened a new, I think it's Asian food restaurant nearby. So Art might have like a bid or not a bid, but like might have someone who's already reaching out to say, hey, can we cater for you? I don't
Great.
know how that went, but I will agree. Warm food is
More
great.
food's
No
good.
salad bar. No salad bar.
So let's just put that down. Maybe just explore. We'll just put warm food, and then whoever's the Asian contact. Maybe that's the next step. Okay, great. Any other thoughts about January? We'll talk a little bit about the holiday showcase. That's a premier part of it. And I think as part of that, Sinjin, do you report how many trees were sold or any
Yeah,
other information?
I was just typing it out for you. Okay, so far we sold 41 trees ordered. It's kind of our usual spend so far. I expect a spike in the next week. Like today I got like 3 people dropping it off at my house. I expect it to just get further and further and further. I have pre-ordered the same number of trees that we usually get, which is 80. If I have until Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, to change my mind on that. So if we need less, I will order less. Or if we need more, I'll order more. But everything's looking good.
How many spares do you typically get?
Last year I think we got 6.
Wow. Okay. I think I targeted 10 extra trees.
Yeah, I just target 80 and then see what happens.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, I didn't mean to jump down to number 6. I was just wondering if in January, are you going to report how we did?
Oh, of course, I will give you a complete breakdown. Not a problem.
Right. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, great. Rito, you want to lead us off with a holiday showcase discussion as it stands today?
You bet. Thank you so much. So we're closing in on the holiday showcase. I'm so excited. Sinjin and I have worked behind the scenes a little bit to get his magic up on the CNA website. And we need to do a little bit of advertising since we don't have another quarterly meeting. So is there anybody that's responsible for posting about the holiday showcase on Facebook or Nextdoor? How have we done that in the past?
I don't know if we do.
No, we don't post on Facebook. Typically, I mean, I know Art has posted on LinkedIn or Nextdoor. but no, we don't generally post on Facebook. So Rita, if you give me like a little post that you want to put, I can put it on our website. We've got I think about 100 and something people that subscribe. So just give me the text you want to put there, and I'll send it out.
I'll resend you the email I sent you earlier.
No. So you sent me an email with like a breakdown of like how you want it posted on the website, but what would that Facebook post be? I can basically do
So
the
there
same
was
thing.
maybe the enclosure didn't come, but I had a little blurb about that. I'll send that again to you. And it looks like somebody has taken names for two judges, Kathy Moe, yay, our own Kathy Moe, and Charles Hanier. Art shared that in the agenda. And then we seem to have someone who's volunteered to be the photographer, Leon Mun Gong. And so I have emails for everybody, but it seems that as Holiday Showcase organizer, I am not able to send emails out as Holiday Showcase organizer. So I've got a little glitch with that and want to work with Sinjin on how we can do that. We don't have the forms up yet on the, is that true, Sinjin? We don't have the forms up yet on the website?
He had to drop. So we'll have to table. I think we need to unfortunately table that and take that offline because he had to drop. His kids are going crazy.
Totally
Bonkers
understand.
was the word.
He said he had dad duty when we were talking earlier, so. Okay, so so I'm at the point where I believe I've sent everything needed to Sinjin, and we need Sinjin's magic on the website. As far as these the three people, Kathy Moe, Charles Honia, and Luo Meng Jin, me sending emails to those, Kathy, I can walk down the street and knock on her door. You know, since we live close together, on the same street. But I don't know how to not use my own personal email for the other two.
Well, first of all, aren't we going to have any more judges? That's not really enough. 3 is not really enough. We should have maybe 5 judges.
Good point, Linda. And that comes to where we want to advertise. We advertised at the October general meeting, but we need to advertise more. We need to have something on the CNA website. We talked just a little bit ago about Nextdoor and Facebook. And so if that has been done in the past, what have you all done in the past to advertise for judges for the Holiday Showcase?
I think we asked for judges at the general meeting.
So we've had the general meeting in October, and that happened, and we've got the photographer and 2 judges.
Out of a meeting?
At the October meeting was my understanding.
Okay.
That's right. I only knew about the photographer.
Yeah, but Rita,
He came
aren't
up
you
afterwards.
going to be a judge? Rita, are you going to be a judge?
No. I am the organizer.
Why
So
can't
I
you
would
be
be,
a judge?
you know, taking in the votes and calculating all of that and posting the results. I wrote the policy and procedure. No, I will not be the judge.
So we need 3 more judges, correct?
We have, what are there, 5 zones? It
Are there
escapes me.
5 or 6?
5 or 6. We need a judge for each zone, not necessarily, and the judges do not judge in their own zone. So if there's 5 zones, then we need 5 judges, and we have 2, so we need 3 more. If there's 6 zones and we need 6 judges, we have 2, and we need 4 more.
Kevin, do you remember? I think there are 5. Do you remember?
I think there are 5 zones too. I think the major block of Cory was divided into 4 and then your zone.
Yeah, and then I'm the 5th, right. And Kathy, I think in the past has done her own area, so that might have to change. Kathy, are you still okay if it changes?
Well,
Because that's part of the rules now. You can't judge your own space.
Oh,
Why can't you judge your own space as long as you leave your house out of it?
yeah, I won't put it, I'm not gonna be putting up a tree out there, so
That's our policy. We bake that into the rules.
I don't think no, because I won't be able to find these houses in the dark.
You have to go to all of them anyways. Right, or no?
With whatever zone is assigned to each of the judge would then have to go around that one zone and look at all the houses that are decorated in that one zone that they are assigned, and then make an assessment.
So how many zones are there? 5?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But
then
you
you,
would only have to go to one zone for round 1, the zone that you would be assigned. And then the second round.
But we
is
need 5.
zero.
But we need 5 people to each have one zone. At 3 people, 2 people would have to do double zones.
No. What? We need 5 people. Each person gets one zone.
Right. I thought we said that we only had 3 people, 3 judges at this time. So
Only
2.
2 judges.
We have 2 judges at this
2
time.
judges and a photographer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 of them would have to double up then, unless we can get more people. Is what I was.
Yeah,
basically-
2.5.
I double up. I'll just do my area.
Okay, well, so that's what I'm saying. Right now, our rules that Rita is trying to enforce here is saying you can't do that. It does not allow you to do your own zone. You cannot do your own space.
Okay,
It's
but
changed since the last time.
These are not my rules. This is what the board came up with.
I'm just saying you're trying to enforce the rules that we all agreed to.
Yes,
That's
but I just facilitated what the board wanted to do.
no,
Okay.
it's gonna
Bottom
be
line is that we need
some other.
judges. How many ever zones we have, we need 1 judge per zone, hopefully.
That does
And-
not live in the zone.
That does not live in the zone. Excellent. And that judge will go to a zone that they do not live in, one that I'm going to assign them. And they're going to look within a specific time frame that we all agreed upon, what the round 1 judging time frame was. Going to look at all the holiday decorations and come up with their list of best tree and best house, and let me know at the end of that time frame for that round 1. I will compile all that overnight and give that to all the judges, the 5 or 6 judges that we have. And then all the judges will look at all the trees and all the houses in all the zones. What
10
is it?
total.
I
10
think it's
things.
5 because it seems to me that there was 10 total. Yeah, so 5 zones. So they're going to look at 5 houses and they're going to look at 5 trees in the entire Cory neighborhood. This is round 2. And they're going to vote for their best, what they like, the best tree and the best house out of those 5 trees and 5 houses. And overnight, I'll do my magic and compile all that. And we will have best house and runner-up house and best tree and runner-up tree. Overnight.
And Rita, when you do that, when in that second round, do they have to pick their favorite and their second favorite of each, or just the favorite?
So I'm so sorry, I don't quite remember that. I think it is just with the votes. I'll have to look at, I know we
Okay, but you have it all written out. It's all, yeah, you got that all.
clarified all that with the procedures, but whether it is that they do the best and the runner-up, or it's whoever gets the most votes and the second most votes. But yes, there is a procedure for that.
So we need to do a little marketing of who's going to
Yes,
be.
we do. Marketing, yes, that's
We
exactly
need to do a
what
little marketing. So So Rita, if you could get that info, like a little marketing blurb to get somebody excited about being a judge, whatever you wrote, just send it to Sinjin. Copy me too and Art, and I'll make sure it gets put on Nextdoor. I'll reach out to our Facebook, which we don't control. I still don't understand it, but we don't have a Facebook page. Somebody else does. I don't understand that at all. And maybe we all put it on our own Facebook pages if we have them. If you want to be a judge in the Cory neighborhood, let us know, so that we can try and advance this.
Okay, I'm gonna have to back out of being this judge because I don't think I'm gonna be able to go around at night and find these places. No, I think I'm just a little bit too old for that. So I'm sorry, but I hope you can find somebody to replace me.
I understand, but here's a question. Would it be possible for you to go during the day to scout it out and then go back at night to see the lights? Or is that too much still?
Well, during the day, the trees won't be lit up, so you wouldn't be able to really judge anything. You have to do it at night, and I just don't think I'm gonna be able to be driving around the neighborhood at night. Doing that. Sorry, getting a little too old for that.
Kathy, is there someone who could help you do that, maybe?
Well, oh, which one are you, which one are you doing?
I'm the holiday showcase organizer. I'm coordinating the entire effort.
Okay,
So I will not be judging.
Okay.
How about,
So,
does
go ahead,
Willard
Lana.
still live in the area? I know he was a guest board
Who?
member a few times.
Who?
I'm not-
Who's that?
Willard, I don't know what his status is. Is he still in the area?
Hey, he lives in Willow Glen now, I think.
Willow Glen.
Yeah.
Is he still a guest board member or he's completely out now?
He can, I mean, anybody can join, anyone can visit the board. He's not a board member. And I think you need to live in the community at this. I don't know.
Right.
But we're at 8:10 and I don't think we're going to make any progress on this. So I'd like to suggest that we connect, if we can be email. I'll circle back with Art as well.
Kurt, what I have here is that I'm going to send to you and Art and to Sinjin. I'm going to resend to Sinjin my blurb about being holiday
Judge.
showcase judge. And
Yeah.
let me just offer to Kathy, because Kathy, I don't believe I have your phone number, but I might be able to, and I'm looking at my calendar here, and I think I might be able to, if you're interested, that if you wanted to judge one of the areas that is not in this area, the zone that you live, I might be available to drive you around in the evening to look at a zone that you might be assigned to. Would you be interested in that?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So maybe we do have
We do have two.
It's hard for me to see at night, so.
Thank
Sure,
you.
understood. So
Thank you, Rita, for offering to do that. And thanks,
yes,
Kat.
I'll be
jumping
back, I'll be back in the neighborhood tomorrow evening. So Kathy, I'll reach out to you. I do not have your phone number, but I'll walk down the street and knock on your door and make sure that you have my phone number to call and get this all coordinated. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Rita. Thank you for
You're
offering to do
welcome.
that. That's very generous.
Mhm.
Okay, and Sinjin already talked about the trees, so now we're just down to open forum. Any thoughts that you want to share before we punch out tonight? Anybody?
Well,
Few?
I just wonder what's happening with Christmas in the park. Not this year.
Oh, yes.
We're always doing Christmas in the park,
Yeah,
aren't
no,
we?
we're doing a tree in the park.
Oh, but
Yeah,
it
it
was,
got approved last time, I think.
Yes. We're
yeah,
all set. We're squared away.
excellent.
Worries.
okay, it just wasn't on there. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else? All right, guys. Ken?
No,
Yes.
just getting ready to say goodbye.
All right. All right. Well, thanks everybody for slagging through an extra 15 minutes here. We appreciate that. Hopefully everybody gets to have dinner now. And thanks for joining and thanks for letting me run the meeting remotely.
Thanks for
Thanks,
hosting, Kurt.
Great, Kirk. Thank you.